What was your, oh shit, this person is a psychopath moment when meeting someone? I've been a public school teacher for a decade. I've only ever been scared of one student. This was in my first few years of teaching. This student was like a myth in my school. I taught at an alternative school for students that had been expelled from every other school. Overall, my students were chill. They weren't good students, but if you met them at their level, things were usually fine. The exception was MK. MK was a sophomore when I met him, but at that point I didn't teach him, but boy did I hear about him. Somehow, his mom was able to work around the paperwork and education system enough that this kid was unpunishable. No matter what MK did, he couldn't really be punished because of all the paperwork tied to his behavior, so much so that this kid literally pushed a 8-month pregnant teacher down, and he was back 2 weeks later. He could literally punch a kid in the mouth and be back 2 days later, and because of this, he was just a massive problem. He caused so many problems because he knew nothing would happen to him. The first terrifying discovery for me was that his mom was very open about not wanting him home because she was scared of him. She had a good reason to be because MK, as a small child, tried to murder his family by lighting their house on fire. Specifically, trying to murder his brother by duct taping him to his bed while he slept. His brother survived but had horrific burns, but somehow that didn't stop him from supporting his almost murderous brother. I finally had the pleasure of teaching MK in his senior year. My first note was that this is the only kid I've ever met that just had nothing going on behind his eyes. He was shark-like. He never smiled or laughed unless someone got hurt. Cruel for cruelty's sake. One day, MK wasn't there, which, frankly, was odd. He ran a pretty successful drug business at school, and he only had to avoid one cop. The next day, we found out why he wasn't there. MK murdered a kid. Shot him in the face for $12 and a little bit of weed. His lawyer tried to get his sentence lowered by arguing that it was technically his first offense since everything else happened when he was a kid. But it didn't work. He got 25 years to life.